Hello everyone, Reza here. In this video, I will show you how to build a modern Power App step by step. Modern controls are quicker and easier for makers to configure. They are built for performance. We have new controls like header, table, form that we can leverage to quickly build a fully functional application within a matter of minutes. So let's check it out in action. Let's take a scenario, employee travel request. In my environment, I have Dataverse, and here, with the help of AI Copilot, I have the ability to describe a new table. With Copilot, I can simply describe my intent. I'll state travel request, and Copilot recommends a table schema for me to get started with. Multiple columns with different data types. I can also ask Copilot to add additional columns. Add column transportation mode, type text, purpose of travel, type text, and also add a column called approval status, type choice. I also have the ability to delete columns or even rename columns. Request ID, I would like to rename that column to trip title. Clear the data, the sample data that it has generated. I can also ask Copilot to add data, natural language conversations. And once I am ready to create the table, I simply click create. The table's created, the sample data is loaded in the table. Now that I have a table that stores travel request information, let's go ahead and build a modern Power App. So right from the home screen experience, we have an option to start with page designs. And from page designs, I would like to start with the header, main section, and footer layout style. So I'll select this, and this will launch the Canvas Studio experience. The app has a screen that leverages the responsive layout containers. At this point, I will first go ahead and save my app. I will call this employee travel request and save. Next, I will go to settings, support, and pick the latest authoring version since I would like to showcase some of the latest features that have just been released. So I'll reload the app. So I'm back to my Power App, and I have the latest authoring version set. I would like to leverage modern controls for this application. So I need to ensure that the modern controls and themes feature is turned on. The screen containers now have a new option to directly insert controls. So if I select this, it launches the insert panel. I would like to add a header control for my Power App. In modern controls, we have a new header control, which I will select, and it will add that header control in the header container. Fully responsive. The title property, I will set it to employee travel request. The header shows the image of the current logged in user, and if that's selected, it will show the details of the current logged in user. It also has an option to add a logo. I'll add an image file here. I've gone ahead and uploaded an image, and that image shows up as the logo for the header. Next, in the main container section, I would like to show the data from the travel request table that we created in Dataverse. I'll click on Insert. One of the new modern controls that we have is a table control. It requires a data source. I can directly search for my table, which is called travel requests. I can select it. This will begin the process of connecting that table in my app. The new table control will display the data. Alignment and container, I will set to stretch, so it will take the full width, and flexible height I will turn on. Currently, it's showcasing a couple of columns. I have the option here to pick fields. I'll remove created on, and I'll click on add and bring in additional fields. I would like to show the departure date, the destination, the purpose of travel, the return date. Click add, and just like that, all those columns will start showcasing in this tabular experience. Now, if I preview the app, we can see how it showcases all the data in this nice new modern table control. If you would like to reorder the fields, once again, I'll go to edit fields. And right here, I can simply drag and drop to reorder them. I also have the ability here to size the columns as needed. Now, this is a fully responsive app. So what happens if I view this, let's say on a tablet experience? Now observe here, it does not have enough real estate to fit the columns. So it shows a horizontal scroll experience, which allows the user to scroll and look at the data across all the columns. And if I was to view this on a mobile experience, we can see how that table control completely transforms itself to represent data in a different format. The table control has a property called reflow behavior. Select grid. So if I was to view this on a mobile device, it will force the grid view experience even in a mobile form factor. The second option we have is list only. So at this point, no matter which form factor I view this on, it will show the data in a list fashion. It also has inbuilt pagination, shows 25 records, and I can navigate through the different pages. And the default option, which was set to reflow, automatically changes the style of the table depending upon the real estate available. Currently, it's displaying the grid, but if I view this on a mobile device, it will transform to the list. The list experience, it will only show the first 3 fields. If I was to place transportation mode ahead of purpose of travel, the third option changes to transportation mode. I would like to give the user the ability to create new travel requests or edit existing travel requests. And for that, I will add a few buttons on the screen. Now the bottom container here, which is called the footer container, I will use that container as a panel for buttons. And I have the ability to right click here, and this will display properties of containers as well. I will reorder this and move this container up. This container has a defined height. Change this, let's say to 50. So I'll open the insert menu, add a button. If I right click on the button control, I can copy, select the container again, right click, paste. I'll hold the control key and select both these controls so I can change their properties at once. The modern button control has a property called type. I'll change this to subtle. For the first button, I'll set its text to new. And the second button, I will set its text to edit. I'll select new screen. I'll pick the layout type as header and footer. The header, literally repeat the same steps as before. In the main container, I will go ahead and insert the modern form control. The data source for this control will be my connected travel request table. Once again, I have the ability to pick the fields that I would like to showcase on the form experience. departure date, destination, and click add. So this will go and add all those columns as data cards on the form control. Each of these data cards I can unlock and make changes if desired. For example, I would like to make title as required when the user fills out the form. And I will do something similar with other data cards as well. I also have the ability to reorder the cards by simply selecting them, drag, drop. All of these are the new modern control experiences. Now in the bottom container, I would like to add a button control which will allow the user to submit the data in the form control. When this button is clicked, I would like to submit the data in that form. So on select of the button, I'll use the formula submit form and put the name of my form control. For the form control, we have a property called onSuccess. This property will trigger once the data in that form is successfully submitted. Here, I would like to first notify the user that the travel request has been submitted successfully, notification type success, and I would like to show this message for 3 seconds. Now the user will come to the form screen from the home screen. And once the form is successfully submitted, I would like to take the user back to the previous screen. And to do that, we have a formula called back. And if I go back to my home screen, when the user clicks on the new button, on select, set the mode of the form to new, and then navigate the user to my form screen. And if the user clicks edit, I would like to set the mode of the form to edit and then navigate the user to my form screen. When an item is being edited, the form needs to have the context of the selected item in the table control. I'll copy the name of my table control. And if I go to my second screen and select the form has a property called item. My modern table control dot selected. So now let's go back to the home screen, preview the app, and test it out. If I click new, takes me to the new form experience. In my form screen, I also want to give the ability to the user to go back to the previous screen without submitting data. So in the bottom container, I would like to add a button. I already have one here, so I'll select, right click, copy, select the container, right click, paste. The first button, on select, let the user go back to the previous screen. The type of this button, I will set it to secondary. And the text for this button, I will set it to back. Now I'll go to my home screen and preview the app. If I select new, it will take me to the form screen. Now I have defined certain mandatory fields. If I try submitting without filling them, observe how the new modern controls shows a nice border around the columns that are required to be filled out. And as I start filling the details, we can see how the validation message and the highlighting border go away. So if I click submit now, this will go and submit that travel request to my data source, and we can see the newly created item being reflected in the modern table control. And if I was to select this record and click edit, this will take me to the form experience that allows me to make changes to the data. For example, I'll change my return date and submit, and that change will be reflected. Now, if I go back to the form control, Currently, I'm viewing this on a desktop experience, some white space on the right hand side. On a tablet experience, you can see the data cards are moving around. And if I view this on a mobile experience, you can see it doesn't fit in the real estate that's available. So for this, all we have to do is go to the form control, select a data card, hold the control key, select another data card, keep control selected, select the first card again, control A to select all the data cards, because in one go, I would like to set a property called with fit for the data cards. This time, if I preview my app, and let's say I view this on a tablet experience, you can see how it tries to fit in that real estate available. If I view this on a widescreen experience, it tries to fit the controls there. The form control has a property called columns. So the design here is set to fit 3 columns. You can decide how many you would like to fit in a single row. I've picked 4. So if I preview, there is enough real estate to fit 4. If I view this on a tablet device, based on the real estate, it's trying to fit the data cards. And if I go to the mobile device, it's fitting it in a single column format, but it's cutting off on the sides. And that is because the form control has a property called minimum width. This I will set to parent dot layout minimum width. So now you can see how the cards align perfectly. Now if I go back to the home screen, notice no record is selected in the table. If I click edit, the form does not have the context of a selected item. So the user has to make a selection before they click edit. So what we can do here is, for the edit buttons, visible property not of is blank my grid control dot selected, meaning there has to be an item selected in order for that edit button to show up. The moment I select an item, edit comes alive. I click edit, takes me to that form experience. Now when I create a new item, I would like the traveler name to be set by default. That should be the current logged in user. So for this data card, I can unlock it. The card has a property called default. Here, I will check to see if the mode of the form is form mode.new. If it is, I would like to default this to the current logged in user's display name. Else, I would like to set the saved value. So notice, for a new form experience, it automatically sets traveler name. Now, if you do not want the user to change this, the data card also has a property called display mode. I will change this to display mode.view. So now this cannot be modified. The approval status column, it's a choice column. By default, the choice is pending, so any new record gets that value. For the visible property of this data card, I will use the name of my form.mode should not be equal to form_mode.new. You can see how approval status does not show up. If I go back, select an existing item and click edit, this time it does show up. And let's say I was to change this to approved and submit. Now that approval status column, if I try and show it in the grid experience, currently it does not show the approval status value. It shows the underlying ID related to that choice set. But if I was to select an item, go to edit, it's defaulting to pending. Let's change this to approved and submit. You can see that ID is changing. So the status is being updated. I'll go ahead and copy this container, select the main container and paste. This one I'll reorder, move it above the table. I'll delete all the controls in this container. And in here, I will go and insert the modern tab control. For the items property of this tab control, I would like to display the choices coming in from the approval status choice column. Choices of my data source dot the name of my column, put it under single quotes. This container, I'll give it more height. And if I preview, we can see how it's displaying the different choice options from my approval status column. And you can guess what I would do next. Depending upon status selected, the data in the table should get filtered. I will use the function filter to filter my travel requests, where approval status is equal to my tab list control dot selected dot value. This is only showcasing the pending travel request items. If I click approved, this will showcase all the approved travel request items. And if I click rejected, it's showcasing the rejected items. All the other options continue to work. If I select an item, click edit. Let's say this one I change to rejected. I submit. The status changes to rejected for this one. A fully responsive, modern Canvas application built in a matter of minutes. And as a next step, simply go ahead and publish my app. And then I can go and share this app with my users. If you enjoyed this video, then do like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much for watching.